How's it going, everybody? I wanted to start a series of videos that tests the limit of certain things in the game. It might not be totally realistic and will probably never happen in an actual match, but I think applying all the things we know about the game to certain scenarios can lead to a fun experience. So the first thing we're testing is, can you survive a plunge attack? We know that all plunge attacks deal 2000 damage, no matter the character. So the first variable we're going to use to reduce that number is damage reduction. Be that via perks, feats or other methods. As you can see, Kashi has the Bastion perk active, so he receives 10% less damage when contesting a point. Now my plunge attack only does 1800. The next attempt is now with Righteous Deflection active. Lawbringer has a feat that gives him 50% damage reduction for 5 seconds after a parry. And now my plunge does 1000 damage. And right here's the first discovery, or maybe you knew this already, but different sources for damage reduction do not stack. At the moment of my attack he had both Bastion and Righteous Deflection active, but my damage was only reduced by 50%, which means the game took the highest modifier and applied that one, while ignoring all others. There is no additive or multiplicative stacking of Bastion and Righteous Deflection, so with the changes to Shugoki's Hard to Kill feat next week, people might want to actually test this in game before doing all the maths and giving ridiculous numbers. So go and test before you make that Reddit thread. So now we know that we can only use one form of damage reduction, and preferably the highest one available, which is 75% when throwing an opponent. I've said this multiple times in videos before, but that is the reason why you do not attempt wall splats and similar stuff when in a team fight or ganking. Chances are someone will mess it up and you'll end up with a grand total of 10 damage. So when throwing someone who is about to get hit by a plunge attack, damage will be 500. With that variable exhausted, we're looking at the next one, that is HP and shield stacking. For HP we know that Tough as Nails feat and Bulk Up actually do stack, so on Warlord we can reach 191 HP. That's 140 base HP, plus 35 from Tough as Nails, and then plus 16 from Bulk Up. Now for shields. Turns out that shields do not stack, neither multiple feats, nor do they stack with the Revenge Shield. So once again, we have to use the biggest shield available to us, which is the Revenge Shield for 120. But we can use the Shields Up perk that gives us an extra 20% for a total shield of 144. Now, when combining both the extra HP and the shield together with a damage reduction, a plunge attack hits us for 356. The 144 shield isn't shown in the death screen, so we know the shield amount. With 191 HP, we're short by 165, so not that far off. But now for the third variable that I had thought was still a thing, but turns out it really isn't. Are feats that reduce the damage that someone does. Both Chillin' Stare and Doom Banner used to have that effect. It would decrease the damage of the person affected by it. So my whole third variable fell through and now we're stuck, but we do have an answer now. No, you cannot survive a plunge attack unless you flip it with Black Prior. But no amount of extra HP and shields or damage reduction will save you. But let's just quickly do the math. If Doom Banner still worked as it did in the past, it was a 30% reduction, which brings the base number of the plunge down to 1400. Now we reduced that number by 75 because of the throw, which brings us to 350 for the plunge. Warlord's HP plus shields gives him a total HP value of 335, so even then we're off by a measly 15, but still no way to survive it. Alright, let's wrap this up then. I hope that this little experiment was fun for you. Most of you are familiar with the mechanics used here, but we rarely try to look at the extremes. I'm going to continue with this series, and feel free to suggest topics, or if you want to join and help with the testing, There's a Discord link in the video description. There is also a tester role that you can assign yourself, so you can be part of one of the next videos. Let me know what you think. I hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.